Welcome to this channel. The channel is for education and culture based on historical and scientific evidence. So this morning, I just shared a video on the breaking away from the Wing Chun version 1960, or breaking away from the past 130 years of Wing Chun creations. And in this video, I like to share with you more in details why we need to break away from what is no longer reasonable, and there are a lot of superstitions there, which is trouble. One of the very misleading superstitions today in Chinese Kung Fu and in Wing Chun is something called internal art. And so we need to break away from that, because today's sports science is beyond those so-called internal art beliefs and practice in past 130 years. The Western sports science and Western medicines know much more than what is present in the past 130 years and the internal Kung Fu and so forth. So many of those Chinese beliefs or legend or hearsay will never be able to deliver in the real life. Sure, people can do demonstrations such like this. Well, people can do demonstrations this way. However, in the reality of fighting, this will be the result. So one simply cannot keeping living in some kind of belief, some kinds of can be said daydreaming or fantasy on internet. Unless one know exactly what is the ancients is training, which can verify by today's sports science and medicines, what one present is actually baseless. And that's why you cannot avoid this type of consequence in real life. So this is reality. Welcome to the real life. Now, one of the reasons today's Wing Chun, or the Wing Chun in past 130 years, not be able to do this, as presented in the Shaolin Short Strike Classic, the real short strike art or sticking body short strike art, is because without proper basic stance training, which is prepared for the less than 40 centimeter distance fighting, which called the sticking body short strike. Sticking body short strike art is impossible. So if you don't have the proper basic training, you will not be able to do this. We know it by evidence today, okay? Because you cannot handle your body. You cannot handle your core. You cannot handle your breathing to play in the sticking body sword strike zone of fighting, which is the ancient, be it the Shaolin Classic or the version 1850s Wing Chun, have already recorded the sword strike, sticking body sword strike. So, the 1850s Wing Chun's basic stance training is equal to body handling, which is a function of Xing Qi to Dantian, meaning your body handling, which is based on deep abdominal breathing, deep natural abdominal breathing. And this type of basic stance training, it is a dynamic training. It is not what is in the past 130 years of Wing Chun or today's version 1960 of Wing Chun. It never is static, clamping knees, structure holding, straightened spine, lifting anus, mind, power, those type of manipulative stuff. And it is also not forcing stuff like you pay attention, intention, power, all sort of stuff, which is damaging. The ancient asking one to develop the skill, do the training so that the result surface. It's never a manipulative stuff. And this basic stance, body handling, Xing Qi to Dantian, it exists in the 1850s Xu Lim Tao manual. Okay, in the very beginning, it tells you about body handling and your breathing stuff. So that is never this type of thing. So now there is a gap there between Wing Chun today and what is Wing Chun. And so if we put this in a scientific term today, all this can be presented in a scientific language today. So in today's scientific language, one needs to satisfy the truth or cannot function properly for whatever one trains. The truth is, number one, core stability enables athletes to control their body positions, generate optimum power, and transfer force along the kinetic chains. Core stability is often needed in rotational movement, which is required in almost every sport. Diaphragmatic breathing, the foundations of core stability. This basic stance, body handling, which is a function of Xing Qi to Dantian, in today's language, is this. It never is the stuff. So The ancient Wing Chun and today's sports science, they are in the same direction. So we know what the ancient, the Qi Ji Guang, Shaolin, 1850 Wing Chun, it be able to deliver, because in today's scientific language, we know that it is really scientific. Now, to continue on, since it got to do with the body handling and breathing, we know it in today's scientific language, it is about core stability and diaphragmatic breathing. There's the core of the core. We know that core stability have the component of outside in, inside out. That's what the ancient name it as. Externally train the body, externally train the muscle, bone, sinews, internally train the breathing. Just for the core stability itself, you have a pressure going in, which is based on the external muscle, which is outside in. And you have the pressure inside out, which is based on the intra-abdominal pressure, which is, of course, it is related to your breathing, lower abs breathing. And we know today, scientifically, if you stand a proper basic Wing Chun stand of 1850, you will get this result based on measurement. You'll be able to get natural deep lower abs breathing. You'll be able to activate that. 360-degree breathing, where your breathing is 360-degree there. And large amplitude of breathing. Meaning that you have a large volume of breathing. This also shows that it is a large amplitude of the intra-abdominal pressure. This IAP, sorry, it's not AIP, IAP. And thus, that is contribute to the core stability. So this one. You need the external muscle and the internal breathing, and you need to be able to handle a large magnitude of this IAP change due to your breathing and your low abs breathing. And then your breathing is 360-degree. And due to this natural deep lower abs breathing activations, the breathing rate will become lower. The heart rate become lower, and it has a good aerobic based training, because the breathing don't go high and get into the anaerobic and so forth, because this is the basic Wing Chun stance training, which you need to develop the foundations. Now, this is the proper stance. If you look at like today's stance in past 130 years, is a variations of this kind of stance, where it is a chest breathing, it do not have this, it not be able to develop this, cannot develop the natural deep lower abs breathing, no 360-degree breathing, no large amplitude or large volume of breathing, no handling in AIP, but you hold in there, like you straighten your spine, you locking up your joints for structure, triangle shape, mind power, whatever. You won't be able to handle the core stability or develop the core stability because this part of the spine, you need the AIP, the IAP, inter-abdominal pressures, and your muscle here to handle, to stabilize this core. And if you just straighten your spine, lifting your anus, having your structure, or having your mind power, you are not going to contribute anything to the core stability. Not to mention that you can lower your breathing rate, heart rate, and having the aerobic based training. You look at this. This is the same time scale. You look at the breathing rate. This is 2.5 times faster than this breathing rate, just because of the stance. Now, many people don't understand what is the aerobic-based training. Well, aerobic-based training is very important because scientifically we know when the proportions of training is off and athlete does too much high intensity training and not enough aerobic based training, the result is a conditions coined by Dr. Phil as aerobic deficiency syndrome, ADS. How does ADS manifest itself? This athlete might feel that they are at peak fitness during their hardest workout. They lift more faster and break their own PRs because they focus high intensity work that they have been doing. When they make it to climb, however, they are surprised by how quickly their heart rate rises with a related slow pace. A few hours into the climb, they are running out of gas. They feel the lactate build out and they can't keep the pace. So in today's sports science, we know all these details. We know all these details. We know all these details. It is absolutely not this, which is people have been practicing in past 130 years by the Wing Chun writing 1890 until today. You turn on the YouTube and website video, you see all around us, and writings in 1960s on structure, on mind power, is all this. While the ancestor of Wing Chun, one does, which is now today we found out this is the truth of training in sport science and sport medicines. Unless one have this, one will not do this. And so now we know this under sport science language, today's language. We can measure it. We can verify what type of training you have. How is your heart rate? How much kung fu you have? What is the level of kung fu you have? Like this guy in this training of 21 minutes, you know that you can see that the heart rate vary from 92 to 113. The first 10 minutes, he have a good handling. And then the next 10 minutes, you know that the heart rate rise up, and however, still have a keep good range of handling. So it is the specific. It can be measured. It can be verified. As for this type of training, by scientific and by ancient, we really don't know what is this contribute to. And in fact, the ancients said forcing is damaging. You need to get things come naturally. So, today, based on sports science, to externally train the muscles, sinews, and bone, which is meaning that train your muscles so that you'll be able to do the breathing. You'll be able to let things happen naturally without manipulations or intentionally, unnaturally handling it. Not manipulation with intention unnaturally. We be able to develop what I call the 2C state with the walking sticks to help the body to learn what is the proper dynamic positions, we just need to handle the breathing. And with the intentionally train the breathing and energy, we have the Nurturachi process, which can develop the internally train the body, the breathing and energy. Now, again, this can be verified scientifically. For example, a person who trained this way, you can read about it. Okay. You can read about, here he said that you have to let it happen naturally and you have to relax. State of mind is very important. If you are overexcited or agitated, just forget about it because your mind is not going to get you be there, be where it should be, and your breathing will come forceful and erratic. So with the N1 process, we know how to do it. And for the 1960 or the training in past 130 years, the result is this. Just read it. So he said that, in fact, it took me a while after I stopped going to correct my breathing. Pushing my shoulder down become a habit and chest felt tight for a long time. That's part of the reason why I stopped going. People cannot continue on, especially those who have physical conditions or old age. They cannot train the 1960s way, like this. Which is based on this. You know, scientifically, it is wrong. Wrong type of training. You know, the ancient didn't prescribe this kind of training. That is the truth. Whether we accept it or not, that is the reality. And keeping talking about internal and so forth, does one know that even that one's getting problem with the aerobic syndrome, deficiency syndrome or not? So today we have technology to develop this. With this and this, and we can get result. Disregard of whom? Well, the result will be like this: the heart rate handling, like this N1 practice, the breathing rate going down. And as for the abdomen, the 360-degree breathing and the core, this is a real-time record. See, once it switched to the usual Wing Chun stand, what happened? So this is science. Now we can use science to validate, to check on, to analyze what the ancient is teaching. Does it make sense? And now the entire thing is clear and making sense. This is science. This is not about, for past 60 years, keeping saying, talk with your hand, not talk with your mouth. We better talk with science, not with your hand. So today, in the United States of America, today, 2022, we have figured out what is the 1850s Wing Chun basic stand teaching. We have verified the teaching with science. We have developed a scientific repeatable training process. Everyone can develop the 1850s Wing Chun basic stand in a few weeks. No longer wishing or guessing for a lifetime. Past 130 years, past 60 years of all this guessing, and then you get into this internal stuff. It's already burning too much time, wasting too much energy, wasting people's life. This is called demonstration or magic tricks. This is not for real life, as we know by scientific study today. You cannot perform. So here on, everyone can develop the 1850s Wing Chun basic stance in a few weeks. No guessing, those fantasy stuff. And in order to bring back the Wing Chun short strike, sticking body short strike, robbing the angle, pressurize the opponent, attacking the leg, sticking at the body, and continues to pressurize to attack the center axis, like described by the ancient. One needs to develop the basic Wing Chun stance handling. One needs to develop this and verify with science. This needs to be dropped off for those who want to develop the ancient Wing Chun, the basic and the skill. Of course, people is free to continue carry on this because it's a free will. But whoever wants to get result, to get the real Wing Chun teaching of the ancient, there's no other way to go when science proves that it is proper and this is not proper. So with almost 50 years of work, to transfer the 1850s Wing Chun teaching to the West in a scientific way, I wrote these 3 books to bring all those in details scientifically to the United States. The goal is here on everyone know exactly what is it and be able to develop the skill with both quality and quantity with scientific standard. No longer my lineage. My grandmaster is the king of Wing Chun, all sort of stuff. But science is the bottom line, scientific standard. So everybody have the same thing. And this is important because when you present it to an MMA friend or Western boxing friend or BJJ friend or Thai boxing friend, you need to talk scientific. Even you present to Xi Xiaodong, you need to talk scientific. So here on, no more secret orders, most authentic magic legend teaching, and no more shortcut. You pay me 10,000 euro, I will give you a seminar in weekend. And because I'm the 4th generations from Red Boat, then you will get this magic shortcut to get the power. No, that nonsense. Seriously, I am from the 4th generations, if you want to count down from the Red Boat, 1850. Yik Kam, which is in the Red Boat, which is the male playing female role actor, have a student in Red Boat. The student is Chou Sun, who is playing the Xiu Mo, leader martial. Chou Sun is actually practiced Hong Sing Choi Lei Fat at that time. So he also studied with Yik Kam. So after Chou Sun, after the uprising, they fled. And it come down to Chou Tak Sing, Chou On, and my Sifu Chou Hong Choi. So I'm the 4th generations. direct line, fourth generation. That's why I have all these documents and I have all these things. But that's not important. What important is to validate things, to analyze things scientifically, so that everybody can get it. So it becomes a standard education backed up by history record and science. I'm not interested to sell you my lineage positions. Like if you study with me, you become the fifth generations. You look around in the world today, who have a direct bloodline like me with the documents and everything, and now scientific proven, and then you can get the fifth generation name. I'm not interested to be in that position. Even you pay me $10 million, I don't want that money. I want the entire Wing Chun who really want to learn, know what is the truth of the ancient Wing Chun ancestor, and know that Wing Chun in the ancient can stand on any scientific examinations. So education is for everybody. No lineage, but only one thing. If you like to learn the real Chinese culture, Chinese Shaolin martial art, this is what you got. Everybody the same. So this is what I present to you in details. It is this on the edge already, Wing Chun. Certainly, this is a democratic world. People can take whatever practice as their religions, their belief, their lineage, whatever. But in here, what I'm focused, make it scientific, make it so that every Wing Chuner can have it for really, really low cost, like an education. So that you got people, talented, next generation can continue on Wing Chun. No more magic, but real life, real thing. So this is not for everybody, but this is for facing the truth. Or else Wing Chun, there's no future. So when people talk about science and internal, the Chinese internal, I always ask people, I always question those who talk about that. Asking people, can they explain this with their internal? Can they explain this with their internal? Can they explain this with their internal? If they cannot explain that with their internal, they don't even know what's going on. And that's why I always say, the Western sports science and Western medicine is much, 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 much more internal than those Chinese internal Kung Fu today, which is who know what. It is only philosophy, ideas, stories, and then making claim who have what power, but there's don't know about process to develop that. Nobody have developed that and never proved by science, and you only end up with this type of stuff. You only have this type of stuff. And then when you are challenged by this Xi Xiaodong, not even Mike Tyson yet, you end up this way. Look at his torso. Look at his core handling. Look at how bad this wobbling around. So either we talk straight, everybody safely move out of the dangerous zone, or we put everybody in dangers for security. Are you sure that you want to train your sister or your aunt or your mom in self-defense? Like those flying attendants training that way, while they have no idea on core stability and breathing at all. Not to mention other things on fighting. If you cannot handle your core stability, your torso stability, and you don't have breathing, forget about fighting. Forget about self-defense. It is scientifically can be proven. So either we honestly talk straight, or we're keeping bullshitting each other. So I'm making a straight talk to everybody who want to learn Wing Chun properly. It got nothing to do with my lineage. It got nothing to do with which generation I am. Or should I claim myself as Supreme Guruji Roti Chana Hendrik? I make a title this long so that I can collect more money selling you the mystic. And I choose not to. Because it's not about me. It's about everybody. It's about Wing Chun. So this is what I like to share with you today. You don't have to believe me. This channel is for scientific and educations and culture. Go verify what I show you on the science. Study on it. See how much the MMA training have gone into even much more internal than the claim of internal today. Be it in the Chinese martial art internal or Wing Chun martial art internal. And does those internal really mean anything in the real sports?